Have you ever scrolled through social media, seeing a former colleague announce a huge promotion or a friend boast about a new, perfect life? And deep down, in a quiet, dark corner of your mind, did you feel a knot of resistance? Not happiness, but a sharp, unexpected pang of annoyance. It's the forbidden feeling, the one we refuse to admit even to ourselves. Envy. It's the sensation that turns good news into a bitter pill. But what happens when that feeling flips? What happens when that same person, the one whose success made you wince, suddenly loses it all? A business fails, a relationship ends, a public scandal erupts. Do you wince in sympathy, or do you feel a secretive, almost electrifying burst of satisfaction? This is Schadenfreude, joy derived from the misfortune of others. We spend our lives chasing success and celebrating heroes, yet we are simultaneously wired to root for the downfall of the successful. This isn't a moral failing, it is a fundamental, uncomfortable truth about human psychology. Envy and Schadenfreude are not flaws in the system, they are the system. They are the twin shadows that keep us chained to a zero-sum mentality. Today, we are diving deep into the dark psychology of envy. We will explore why the human brain is conditioned to view other people's success as a personal threat, and why we often derive a primal, chemical pleasure from their failure. This is the science of social comparison, the philosophy of pain, and the ultimate roadmap to mastering the most toxic emotion we possess. To understand envy, we must first travel back to the savannah, to the dawn of our species. Our ancestors lived in environments of radical scarcity. Resources were finite: food, water, and reproductive opportunities. In that world, the success of one hunter was quite literally the deprivation of another. If your neighbor hoarded a large kill, your family ate less. This is the basis of the zero-sum game mindset. And while we live in a world of exponential wealth and opportunities, this primitive programming lingers in our limbic system. Our brain still treats social status and accumulated success as precious, limited resources. This biological comparison mechanism is precisely why envy is so painful. Modern neuroscience has given us a literal look inside the envious brain. Using fMRI scanning, researchers have found that when a person is exposed to the success of someone they envy, the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC, lights up. This is the very same region of the brain that processes physical pain. Envy doesn't just feel painful. To your brain, it is painful. Success in others translates into social pain for the observer. But the real insight comes when we examine the flip side, Schadenfreude. When researchers showed test subjects scenarios of the envied person suffering misfortune, perhaps a career setback or public embarrassment, the brain activity shifted dramatically. Instead of the ACC lighting up, the ventral striatum was activated. The ventral striatum is the key node in the brain's reward circuit, the region associated with pleasure, gratification, and addiction. This is the biochemical reality. Their failure literally makes our brain happy. The pain we felt from their success is instantaneously relieved and replaced by a shot of dopamine-laced pleasure. This neurochemical loop, pain from their gain and pleasure from their loss, is the engine that drives malicious envy. This dynamic is further explained by relative deprivation theory. The theory posits that people are not primarily concerned with their absolute level of well-being, but rather their well-being relative to a specific reference group, the people they compare themselves to. It's why you'd rather be the wealthiest person in a small town than the poorest person in a metropolis. Our social standing, our self-worth, and even our happiness are calculated on a constantly shifting social ledger. When others climb higher, our standing feels lower, regardless of our true objective progress.
Not all envy is the same. Psychologists delineate between two major types: benign envy and malicious envy. Benign envy is often a motivating force. It acknowledges the achievement of the other person and uses it as inspiration. I wish I had that, and I will work harder to get it. This is healthy competition. Malicious envy is the darker counterpart. It acknowledges the achievement, but the underlying motivation is to tear the achiever down. I wish I had that, and since I don't, I wish they didn't either. This form is rooted in deep insecurity and a destructive view of the world. It is the core driver of Schadenfreude. Malicious envy often intersects with a powerful psychological bias known as the just world fallacy. This is the deep-seated, sometimes unconscious belief that the world is inherently a fair place where good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. When we see someone we envy succeed, and we perceive that they achieved that success unfairly, or that they are fundamentally undeserving, it creates a cognitive dissonance. The success of the unworthy person shatters our illusion of a just world. Malicious envy, in this context, becomes a moral mechanism. We crave their downfall because their failure, their punishment, would restore the cosmic balance, validating our belief that justice prevails. Ironically, the envy can also be so intense that it makes us perceive the successful person as bad or arrogant, regardless of their actual character. The inner script goes, "They are succeeding, I am not. Therefore, they must be fundamentally flawed or have cheated, and thus deserve a reckoning." The destructive power of malicious envy is not new. It is a timeless human drama. Nowhere is it more clearly displayed than in the works of literature. Consider Iago from Shakespeare's Othello. Iago's entire motivation for an elaborate, soul-crushing campaign of deception and ruin is simple: unadulterated envy. He is passed over for a promotion in favor of Cassio, and Othello holds a status he covets but lacks. Iago's bitterness is all-consuming. He does not seek to promote himself, but only to destroy Othello's happiness, reputation, and life. He derives a perverse satisfaction from the psychological manipulation, the purest form of malicious envy, leading to ultimate Schadenfreude. Iago is the literary embodiment of the zero-sum mind. If he cannot rise, Othello must fall. If the stage of the Renaissance was Iago's playground, the modern stage is social media. The internet has amplified the comparison trap to an unprecedented degree. Platforms like Instagram,
TikTok, and even LinkedIn are curated highlight reels, a non-stop barrage of carefully filtered successes. They are designed to create a feeling of relative deprivation in the viewer, and the constant exposure makes the pain of envy chronic rather than acute. Every scroll is a fresh wound to the ego, a reminder of what we lack relative to the idealized lives of others. This environment fuels a collective culture of tearing down. We see the modern phenomenon of cancel culture and online trolling as the mass expression of malicious envy and Schadenfreude. When a prominent figure, a celebrity, an influencer, or a politician commits a misstep, the public's thirst for their professional or personal destruction can be overwhelming. The failure of a high-status individual provides that collective neurological reward shot for millions of people feeling insecure in their own lives. It's a moment of satisfying communal justice, where the high flyer is brought down to earth. This momentary leveling of the social playing field feels good, reinforcing the cycle of envy. This also relates to the tall poppy syndrome, a cultural phenomenon where people who are perceived to be superior or overly successful are resented, criticized, and ultimately cut down to size, just like a tall poppy in a field. It is a social mechanism to enforce mediocrity and protect the collective self-esteem of the group from the threat of brilliance.
Understanding the destructive wiring of our brain is the first step toward freedom. The key to defusing the bomb of envy is not to eliminate the emotion, a near impossible task, but to fundamentally reframe our reaction to it. For this, we turn to the ancient philosophy of Stoicism. The Stoics, long before neuroscience, understood the folly of external comparison. Their core teaching is the dichotomy of control. Focus only on what you can control and discard everything else. The success, failure, wealth, or status of another person is entirely outside your control. Spending emotional energy on comparing yourself to their external achievements is a guaranteed path to suffering. The Stoic antidote to envy is a radical shift in focus. 1. Internalize your metrics. Measure your life against your own previous self, your own potential, and your own character. Did you work hard today? Did you act with integrity? Are you making progress on your goals? These are the only comparisons that matter, because they are the only things you can control. 2. Convert envy to emulation. When you feel the familiar pang of envy, use it as a signal. That signal is not telling you, tear them down. It's telling you, there is a gap between your current position and your potential. Convert that painful feeling of malicious envy into benign emulation. Instead of wishing they didn't have it, ask, what actions did they take? What can I learn? How can I apply their strategy to my own path? 3. Practice gratitude and appreciation. Envy focuses on what is absent. Gratitude focuses on what is present. Taking time to appreciate your own trajectory, the challenges you have overcome, the unique resources you possess, shrinks the perceived importance of the other person's success. Furthermore, actively cultivate admiration. Learn to genuinely appreciate the quality of the work, the effort, and the discipline it took for the other person to succeed. This is the ultimate act of psychological self-mastery. The key to transcending the zero-sum mentality is to realize that life is an infinite-sum game. One person's success does not deplete the global supply of success. In fact, it often illuminates a path or provides an example that benefits us all. You are not doomed to the dark psychology of envy. Recognize the primitive wiring, understand the triggers, and choose the path of the Stoics. By mastering your inner comparison mechanism, you can liberate yourself from the hidden joy of Schadenfreude and focus your energy on the only success that truly matters, your own.